First contribution to the church, Sally, through it. Are you, John? Of the nave, chancel and the tower, which was the foundation stone, was laid in 1479. And it remained largely unaltered during that time until the arrival of the Victorians and William Scudamore, followed by his son John Scudamore, who held the living here for nearly 100 years. And Rider Haggard, as a Victorian gentleman, sort of fits into that period of time. And not only have you been living in his house, but you're actually sitting in his pew.
Oh, right.
Because, as you know, those of you who do go to the Church of England, everybody's very precious about sitting in his pew. Well, no, but this was his
Not
pew.
yet.
This was the Haggard pew right here.
Oh, wow.
So, there you go. That was where they would have sat as the most important thing.
Wow.
So probably enough about the church, but all the major alterations were made in the Victorian times, in the 1800s. Rider Haggard restored the porch, the pews were put in, the altar, the pulpit, everything you see in the north aisle was built all in those Victorian times. So Henry Rider Haggard, everyone thinks he's double-barreled, but it's not. Rider is actually one of his first names. Henry Rider Haggard was born in Braddon in Norfolk. I might have to put the glasses on, I'm sorry. In 1856, and he was the eighth of 9 children. And his father did not consider him to be very intelligent and felt he couldn't privately educate him as he had with his older sons and sent him in fact to Ipswich Grammar School. He then failed the army entrance exam and then he prepared to take the Foreign Office entrance exams, which he never actually took. But at that point, an opportunity arose for him to go to Natal in South Africa, an unpaid position to help the Lieutenant General. And that was the start of his life for Africa and for the Zulu people. He had a servant and friend called Mzuku, who was his friend for a very long time, and he became passionately interested by the Zulus, their culture, their characters, and they became the inspiration for many, many books with heroic African characters. And that was the point at which he acquired his farm, Hildrop Farm, all of which later in Natal, in South Africa. And also, just before that, he'd become quite interested, while he was in London working for his Foreign Office exam, he'd become quite interested in psychic phenomena, which was also something that stayed with him throughout his life. Came into quite contact with quite a few people in that field. So in 1880 he returned to England, where he married Mariana Louisa Margetson, whose family owned Ditchingham House and most of the land around here, a great deal of the land. And that began his interest in Ditchingham Church and his life here. And then in 1880, they then returned to Hildrop Farm. In 1881, their son Arthur John was born in Natal, in South Africa. And after a few years there at the farm, they returned to England where his 3 daughters, Angela, Dorothy and Lilias, were born. And he began writing very successfully. Adventure fiction with exotic locations, over 34 novels, and he began to develop a fascination for ancient Egypt. And he and Louisa travelled a great deal. And in 1892, they went to Mexico. And before he went, the story is that Sir Rider had one of his strange premonitions, was that he felt he might not see his son again, thinking that he probably would die himself overseas. But in actual fact, it was Jock who died aged 10 back here in England. Some say measles, some say complications after appendicitis, but Jock died. And Rider Haggard never really recovered from his grief. They returned to England, he and Louisa, obviously long journeys. And that brings me really to the first memorial in this church, which relates to him, which is the one here about the clock, which you can see in a minute. And when Simon takes you up the tower, he'll be able to show you the clock. So, the black top. In memory of their timeless love, the clock in this church is given to the glory of God by Henry Rider Haggard and Mariana Louisa, his wife, and dedicated to the memory of their son Arthur John Rider Haggard, who sleeps without, 1892. And when you walked from the car park to the church, you actually passed his grave, which I can show you later. It's marked by a stone cross just inside the gate of the car park, with a little fence around it. And there are other members of the family whose ashes have also been interred. So Rider Haggard then, his inspiration for his novels pretty much dried up at that time, and he became much more involved in farming. He wrote A Farmer's Year, 2 volumes about rural England, got very involved with agricultural and social reform and land use, many publications, letters to the Times, and was employed by the government to do a great deal of work in that field, appointed to many commissions, travelled to many parts of the empire, stood unsuccessfully as a Member of Parliament in this area in 1897, and in 1912 he was knighted for his works for the government. In 1914 he returned to South Africa and became gradually less imperialistic. He very much took the side of the indigenous people against imperial powers, and his passion for South Africa was never dimmed. In 1914, we have the second memorial here, which is to his nephew Mark Haggard, who was his nephew, the son of his brother Bassett Michael Haggard. And this is to the memory of Mark Haggard, a captain in the 2nd Battalion Welsh Regiment who fell in the Battle of the Aisne in September the 18th, 1914. This tablet is set where he often worshipped by his uncle and aunt Ryder and Louisa Haggard, and by his cousins Angela, Dorothy and Lilias. And there's information about the battle itself at the bottom. So then, Barkey died in London in 1925, and in his memory, his wife, and at his request, his wife Louisa had the screen that you see here restored. The bottom half is mainly medieval, sorry you can't see, mainly medieval, but was badly damaged. The top half was completely destroyed. So Lady Haggard had it restored in his memory, and their daughter Angela found the figure of the Good Shepherd outside an antique junkie shop in Lowestoft, bought it, and had it put on the top. You didn't know that? No. So that was put up by Angela Haggard, who remained Haggard because she married a cousin, Thomas Haggard, so she was always a Haggard. And that was restored by them. Okay,
very well, you.
Disappointed that the song's going so quickly.
Yeah. Can't be as tall as York Minster, can it?
Yes. You okay, sir?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm the last.
Right, okay. So this is the clock that Sally probably told you about. It's not actually working currently. We've got a problem with the chain. Again, that's happened more than once.
That's the other family, isn't it?
Sorry?
The Jane family.
It's a day. Well, yeah, that's right, yeah. There's a door that you have to open. You can have a look at it and shut the door so that people can get past, because otherwise it blocks the way.
Look, people.
Oh no, it's amazing.
So a lot of the soldiers used to write there. Someone might have to help. Oh yeah.
Best quality graffiti in those days.
Yeah, it's really good. And if you see it in Norwich now, it looks awful.
No, I'm up here now. I'm going to just go.
No, I'm sorry. I get claustrophobic in the lift at home. You mean Gerald?
Oh, cool.
Gerald?
Have a look at the valve.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a nice breeze.
Round. So what have I got to do? Just
Right, once you've looked, then you just shut
look.
this door.
Oh my God.
And then the next person.
So there's 6 of them, is
Yeah.
there? Oh my God.
For a spiral staircase.
They're
Sorry?
all in a row.
Oh no.
No, they all say I didn't know it was that big.
They always say
And
that.
then the next person, so have a look.
Yes.
River on the bus, please.
Yeah. Just open the door, you can see a big bell. Just pull the phone round. I was watching something, Simon, about Big Ben. Wow.
All right, yeah.
And they were saying that there was a bell there.
Right.
What's in there?
Bells. Bells.
Right, can you just look up? Right, we're going to the bar now. Go underneath like that. Right.
And I've got to do the same.
Well, you don't have to, but that's the way I'll find it easier.
No. I'm only a short guy. I'll go and do Yeah, I can get under it.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well done. Right, nearly there.
Crikey. They must have been small people.
Warm spoon, don't they?
Oh no, we're going outside. I don't like
God, it's getting narrower.
it. I'm not waiting for that. No, I think
You've not had a problem.
Mind your head on this
On your
door.
head on the bar.
It's fine, but it's Well, exactly, yeah. Right, everybody okay? Just watch your head as you're coming through. It's quite low.
There's more obstacle course myself.
Wow. So I should move that way if I were
We had a huge one about 10 years ago.
Right.
Oh my God. Right, okay. Where is that?
These are down there.
Are they bees?
Yeah.
They should be alright.
Yeah, watch your head. And watch out for the bees. We haven't been up here since Easter, so there's plenty of chance.
Long way down if you have to jump.
Right, over there you'll see that's ditching and hall.
Oh yeah.
Right, Haggard ditching and house is sort of just in that direction there, basically. Okay now? Okay. Well done. You'll see the remains of the bee's nest. Oh gosh.
Maybe we can have it when church calls. You want the
Okay. Just take it. Okay. That's it, just watch your head. Well, I heard that chap up there a few months ago. So, I mean, he struggled a bit to get out of there, but is it alright?
Yes, I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
Just take your time.
Yep, I've got it. I'm ready.
Now we're at the second hurdle.
Yeah.
It's alright, you just step over it.
Yeah.
Keeping my eyes open.
Mind the pole.
But then I can recall people.
They're coming down, but when the last one comes down, it should be all right. You can't pass each other on the stairs.
Tell your friends to get with their foot.
We might come, Matt's here.
Oh, okay. Well, it's an 8 mile. I had a black bag. I had a black accessory bag when I set off. It's black and white now.
Everyone's